Alright, this is Prophet of the Constitution. Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 3 of our Subsidy Troops campaign for Britain and Hannover. When we left off, we had this army trying to flee from us, and we intend to do battle. We organized some things with our troops, got some upgrades, and managed equipment. There is one thing that I forgot to do, however. Excuse me. I forgot to upgrade the French provincial cavalry. They are going to become dragoons. This is going to be a large upgrade for them. They'll be far more capable at shooting the enemy. They will have 10 more speed than they did before, and 5 more charge, along with 200 more men, making them harder to kill. Definitely wanting to do this upgrade before we join the battle. Alright. As you can see, they still don't want battle. Obviously, we do. They have 3 recruits, 2 fusiliers, 2 cavalry, and artillery. The idea here is definitely going to be taking out their cavalry with ours, dealing with their artillery, and holding the line. We're going to do as much XP farming for our recruits and lower level infantry as we possibly can, since this is such a small fight. The key on these battles is to slaughter as many enemies as you can without incurring such grievous losses yourself. That can be difficult sometimes. Take a look at the map here. We have some woods. We have a little hill here with a town and some woods. I do believe I'm inclined to head over there by that town. I don't particularly like leaving my forces open in this terrain here. So we are going to brilliantly march our troops off yonder here. Take advantage of superior terrain. Move our cavalry to the flank. Alright, let's get our men over here on the double, shall we? Make sure they're in a good long column to speed them up. I've seen recently some YouTubers and players of the game complaining that the units are way too slow, sometimes even in column. Listen, part of it is going to be, yes, the battlefields in these times were slower than people might imagine. However, they were a lot faster than they give credit for. Part of it is the movement stat. As you can see, some of them have terrible movement. Terrain affects movement. And if you're moving in a line and not column, you're not going to go anywhere anytime soon. I always try to move my troops in column. Unless they are under attack from artillery or infantry, then I might change it up. Alright. Excuse me. Let's take a look here. Their artillery. 6-gun Austrian field artillery. Not too bad. Still iron guns. Limber chest. Alright. Crappy swords on these Austrian cavalry. But they do have ramrods and guns. The idea when facing cavalry is to try to group up multiple cavalry of your own against a single unit of their cavalry. Another thing to be mindful of, if you charge their 1 unit of cavalry and your men get stuck in and they cannot be called off the charge, their secondary unit of cavalry could very easily come in and charge your now embroiled cavalry in melee. And that would be extremely devastating. You want to try to avoid that at all costs. Alright, let us see here. I forgot to move the general with them. He should be going with them there. Hopefully the artillery is not targeting our cavalry. That's good. Alright. Going to set up good in these woods. He's not quite close enough. Let me get him there in column still. Alright. Take a look at the cavalry here. It's going to be essential to make sure we keep a good eye on them to keep from casualties. Alright. Gotta assemble the men inside the town and the woods if possible. That's one benefit we have over the AI here, is they're moving their men in line formation. It allows our columns to get to better terrain faster than they can respond to it. Their artillery is in range now, however, so I'm going to begin putting my units in line formation and preparing the defenses. Alright. Definitely got to spread out. We got too many units all clumped up here. Perfect shot for artillery. Almost ready to use the cavalry. We need to have their infantry advance ahead of their cavalry a little bit more. Not generally a great idea to get your cavalry stuck between their infantry and their cavalry. Take way more losses than you want to that way. Alright. They still need to reach the town. It's going to take a little longer. Their artillery is already unlimbering, preparing for the fight. Again, we need to bring the general up with his men. See how much damage their artillery is going to do to us here. Alright. Get those musketeers spread out a little more. I'm going to keep some of our men here in reserve. I don't like not having reserves. I like being able to respond to battlefield situations. Besides the fact that we have enough infantry, trying to deploy them all would be somewhat redundant. Getting ready for the cavalry battle over here. Subsidy recruits. Come on, get into the town, boys. We'll try to position ourselves so we don't get charged in the flank. Alright. The enemy's moving up again some. We'll have to follow them. Here they go. They're getting ready to charge our troops. We're charging the dragoons, I believe. We're not going to charge both units. We do not want them both getting embroiled in melee and getting hit in the flank, like I mentioned earlier. Fantastic. The dragoons broke their cavalry. Provincial cavalry are coming after the guards. Dragoons are going to hit them in the flank, and the guards are going to hit them from the front. Should finish them. Dragoons took some good casualties there. That's a little rough. They did have to take the brunt of both units, but they did well. Fantastic. I'm going to pull them back here now. Alright. The artillery is focused on my cavalry for the moment. Not fantastic. Cavalry are basically completely vulnerable to artillery. Our infantry lines are just about ready, which is good because they are advancing on us right now. Alright. Let's keep going. Some of their troops are going to be chasing our cavalry. Definitely want to stay away from them. Keep the cavalry moving. Spread them out in a line here. Normally I don't move my cavalry in line, but when they're under heavy artillery fire, I will do that occasionally to try to pad the losses as much as we can. Alright. Let's move up here with the cavalry and just prepare for the enemy to meet our lines. We can move our reserve troops up as needed when the fight commences. These musketeers here are pretty vulnerable. I'm not wanting them to move up until the battle's joined with our units in the woods and the settlement. I don't want them to be the priority of attack for the enemy. Not a fan of having any of my units in the open if I can help it. Brunswickers up the flank. Alright. Rather than get a little bit better flanking action, however, from the woods, rather than firing into the woods. Here they go. They're beginning to get shot at by our subsidy troops. About to fire on them. There they go. They're returning fire. Move the other subsidy recruits up here so they can actually shoot them. And reinforce with some musketeers. This will give us 2 volleys of fire coming in on the Hungarian Fusiliers at one time. That should help out quite a lot. Alright. Alright. Keep moving them up. Their unit is still chasing our cavalry up here. Make sure we don't get in range of their guns. The artillery is starting to fire on the line. Subsidy recruits are getting shot at by 2 units. Thankfully, the Hungarian Fusiliers are also receiving 2 volleys of fire into their flank. Their morale is not good. They will break soon. Alright. Probably going to move Hanover up here to back them up some more. Just to keep losses down a little more. Now the recruits I notice are moving up this way. I'm going to go ahead and put the Brunswick Musketeers in the woods so they have cover for that confrontation. They'll be able to screen for the cavalry a little as well. There go the Hungarian Fusiliers. They broke. Alright, Hessian Musketeers are coming up to help with the flank, and of course the other recruits are going to help the battle in the woods with the little farmstead over there. A few of my troops aren't going to probably join the battle here, but that's alright. See if we might have a way to the artillery through there. Somewhat risky. You do not want your cavalry receiving a full volley by an infantry line. Not a fun prospect at all. See what we can do over here. Alright, Hanoverian troops are moving back in a column to move more effectively. Brunswick Musketeers are nearly there. Alright, subsidy recruits. Yes. Their recruits are breaking. Alright. The recruits that are chasing the cavalry are turning to try and fire on them. See if we can get the dragoons in there fast enough to take out the artillery. I'm not sure about that unit behind. Somewhat questionable. I don't know about that. I'm not going to risk those dragoons there. That's not going to happen. Nope, I'm not going to risk them getting shattered. If we get a unit shattered, we basically get them destroyed. We can't afford to lose our cavalry right now. Not for a stupid reason either, especially. Move up all of our infantry. Do a slow advance here. Don't want to do column too much because the artillery is still firing on us. We just shattered the retreating unit, which is good. Musketeers are getting hit by a point-blank volley in the artillery. Morale's shot to crap. They should recover, though. They're getting reinforcements on their flanks. That should definitely help. I'm going to set up the dragoons to do some farming on these guys that are running away. Alright. Here we go. Move the general up. Almost forgot about him. And move the other units up just to help keep that reserve close. Alright. Artillery's still in action. That's not great. Thankfully, that's another reason to use as much cover as we can on the advance. General's still moving up. Grenadiers still moving up. And we have their front middle line in full retreat. Those Crownland recruits are retreating into our line basically and don't realize it. Now we can advance our troops to fire on their guns. Alright. I do still have the Fusiliers in the north to be concerned about, however, and I do not want the Dragoons to stick around long enough to get shot at. I'll switch which unit they're attacking just for that reason. Alright, soon we'll have their guns. Dragoons shattered that unit of recruits. They're continuing to kill them. I don't want to get too near to the Crownland recruits approaching us either. Make sure to set up some defense in the north in those woods against the Fusiliers. Alright, Subsidy recruits were tired. They've replenished their stamina a little bit. Now they can open fire on the enemy recruits. I'm just going to go ahead here and move the general up. Get rid of those guns. Normally I like my other units to get the XP for it, but I really need those guns to stop firing. Especially as we have this unit approaching here. Just work out better that way to knock them out. There we go. Fantastic. Alright. Get the general out of there. The enemy recruits are now turning on us to open fire. Gave a good volley there. Bring up the other recruits in support. Alright. Keep him near to the recruits just in case their morale begins to dip. Bring up some of the reserves. I do believe their northern Fusilier unit is bugged out. Alright. Their recruits here do not have that much morale left either. Likely won't be long before they break. Get a few more kills for the Dragoons. And that volley did not feel good for the Crownland recruits. They are in retreat. Alright. So all we have left to deal with is the Fusiliers there. Going to continue to move our men up just in the event they decide to try to come back. I doubt they will with the Dragoons down their neck. Speed this up a little as we want more Dragoon kills. Occasionally the movement, especially for cavalry or trying to run down enemy troops, can get a little buggy. Take a little extra work there. Alright, we got the charge off. They're going to shatter those guys. And I know those Fusiliers seemed bugged, but I don't want the Dragoons to get too close and have those Fusiliers just decide, oh look, there's something nearby, let's put a volley into them. I'm going to pull them back. Definitely not worth losing some cavalry on a mission like this, or a battle like this, I should say. I'm going to go ahead and get our recruits into the fighting with the Fusiliers, make sure they get the shots. Alright. Not too bad a battle. Several of our units took casualties, mostly the Dragoons. And the cavalry action. We need them to get carbines and some better swords, honestly, to improve that. I'm going to have them go back after these recruits here when they get a little further from the Fusiliers. Speed it up some. Alright. They're going to shatter them. And then you start getting a lot of kills. Your stamina is going down, but they're almost at the 2,000 mark for kills. That's wonderful. Just going to let them slaughter as many as we can. There's 2,000. Alright. Keep going, keep going. 2,200. Wonderful. 2,300. Just keep killing them, boys. Just keep killing them. Nearing the 2,500 mark. 2,500. We're going to go after this group. They're basically off the board now. Alright, 2,600. They might get near 3,000 in this battle. Wonderful. That'd be a lot of XP for them. 2,800. I'm going to switch it up again. Try to get these guys before they go off board. Look at that. 2,900 kills. And 3,000. We did make the 3,000 mark for the kills for this Dragoon unit. That's wonderful. Don't think it'll be too long before they make it to the Royal Cavalry. And more kills. 3,300. Now, of course, I have to keep fast speed up on this. I mean, it's already taking too long the way it is. But imagine if I still had it on normal speed, or God forbid, half speed. Oh. I feel the pacing works out in general for these battles. And it's mainly when you're running them down that it takes forever. Which is fine anyway, because you don't really do a lot of running down in this game. Like I said, besides some farming for unit XP, it's not really the better option. And not only that, once every unit is routed for the enemy, you cannot run them down. Not quite like Total War, where you can just continually chase them down until they're all off the board. Then again, that's not as big a deal, because these armies aren't going to continue on the campaign map when you've defeated them. When you defeat them, they're gone. In Total War, it's more important to destroy the enemy army, because they could destroy buildings, they could attack and harass towns, or smaller armies or things. Alright, so we got the Subsidy recruits, the battle to finish it against the Fusiliers. Took a couple volleys from us. That's alright. Alright. Not a bad battle at all. As you can see, we're still getting low amounts of money and the like for these battles, and less for whichever option we're going to choose here, simply because we decided to kill so many. Wonderful XP. That's fantastic. Enemy guns got 174 kills. Still going to go with the ammo and the Tallers here. We do have to keep an eye on that food still, however. Look at all those levels. That's fantastic. There we go. Replenish our units here. Do a little bit of organization. Got some more items. Some of these we may not end up keeping, like the beer. Not as big a fan of the beer. I prefer the spirits for a unit that's going to have that. Alright. Von Wutgenau, he can level up. Let's see what we can do. Alright, he's a cavalry commander. Equestrian is good. Orderly is also good for the stamina. I don't need veterancy gain, however. They're both fantastic. Cavalry accuracy and reload, though, I think is the way to go here. He is such an excellent cavalry commander. That's fantastic. We're looking around at the map. We're going to miss the herd, I believe. We're going to go down south right here. Try to find some events that slow down the HQ. Don't forget to bring our cavalrymen up from their levels. Gentlemen cavalry. Fantastic. Now, they're not as good at shooting as the dragoons, but they're going to get a lot stronger in melee and the charge, which is what we want. That's why we want the French Royal Cavalry. Got an army trying to run from us there. Going to check out the markets here a little bit. Usually I don't buy items here. Let's check the recruits. I'm going to sell some things before we leave. Almost forgot that. Alright. Need to hold on to most of this. Definitely going to want to keep a lot of the artillery items for artillery as well. We have a distinct lack of artillery in our army. I think I'm going to go with recruits still. They've got 2 subsidy recruits, 2 land millets, and an artillery battery. Let's see what we've got here. Several recruits. Where can they go? I don't want to put them into guns because then they give you crap guns. Worse than 3-pounders even. You get a 1-pounder. It's horrific. It's not even worth it. We're going to keep our musketeers as musketeers right now. We are going to make the Hanoverians into foot now. That's fantastic. They'll do just a little better on the line. More recruits. Let's see, what do we want to do with these guys? Could get another Hanoverian unit. Or another Grenadier. That might be the way to go. See, we'll go Hessian, I believe. Maybe. Let's see, we do have 1 Grenadier. Yeah, we'll go Hessians. We're going to make them into Grenadiers at some point. Alright. That should work out nicely. Let's see. I want some more Hanoverians. I'm trying to keep track of what I'm wanting to do with every one of these units. Alright. See, we need artillery, but it's not worth upgrading into artillery because you don't get any good guns. I think it may be time for a new brigade. When we do that, we can recruit those other recruits, and we'll be ready to be just a little stronger. Definitely want the cavalry together now for the cavalry commander. Get the subsidy recruits. That's wonderful. Replace their crappy muskets. Give them a few items to increase their survivability. Recruits are so bad when you get them. They need all the help they can get. Alright. Let's see. I think we'll be picking up those other recruits also. Alright. Trying to look between them with the items sometimes also. Early game items aren't all that helpful, but they can give your guys just a little bit of an edge over the enemy. Pick up the other recruits. All 3 of these brigades are full now. Alright. Go ahead and head out. See if we can catch that army there. I don't think I want to go for the forts just yet. I want to come back around for them if we can. We have a little time, but we don't have artillery. And the problem with that is Perhaps I should have gotten artillery at this town. I'm not sure. Fantastic drummer boys. This is an excellent event. Always an excellent item. You get to choose between 3 of them. I like the foreign musicians, but I think my favorite is still the bagpipes for the charge bonus. Definitely an item for the grenadiers. Charge and morale is just, it's hard to beat for grenadiers, it really is. Put that on our grenadiers. Foreign musicians. Probably going to put them on our Hessian troops here, prepare them for being grenadiers. Give the cheese to recruits. It won't do a whole lot, but it'll help with morale somewhat. Alright, let's hit up this battlefield here. Hopefully it'll have a good event. Alright, don't want 2 weapons in Act 1. Would rather go with the reservists. Wonderful. And winter is coming. That's not great. Especially with provisions of 328. We really have to watch that. Now, it's not here yet, but it will be soon. We have more slums, a herd, an outpost, 2 outposts, and an entrenchment battle. I think we want to do the entrenchment battle. May be difficult, especially with the lack of artillery. However, I don't know that we'll be back here again. And we need a chance at more doctrines. Set up this outpost real quick. Alright, supplies. Definitely need the provisions, I think. 90 provisions for a few reservists. That'll help us last a little longer, especially with winter coming. A hunt. We can't do a hunt yet. We don't have an officer in reserve. Let's move him to the reserve for a moment. And do the event here. Fantastic. Provisions and a pelt. That's just what we needed. Move him back. Alright. I do believe we're going to do the entrenchment battle. As I mentioned, it may be very tough. However, I don't think we'll be back, and we need as many doctrines as we can get. I think we should be able to hold up. Fight wisely, considering they have artillery. Alright. Let's see here. Yes, indeed. 5 Fusiliers. We've got an elite Fusilier as well. Grenadiers, several recruits. 3 artillery and 2 cavalry. That 3 artillery could be a huge problem. Huge problem. Our cavalry is going to be essential in this battle. Our cavalry is superior to theirs. We've got to use that to our advantage. If we can take out their cavalry and their guns with our cavalry, that would be ideal. Alright, this could be a very, very tough fight. Also, because we don't have artillery and they do, they may force us to advance. We may not have the luxury of sitting in cover. Let's take a look at the map here. Not a bad map at all. Definitely a town for cover. Got this hill here. It's not too bad. I like the hill better when I have artillery. I think the play is going to be here in this town. There's a hill back here behind the river, but I don't want to use that. If I don't have artillery, they're just going to get shelled. They'll shell us to oblivion and try to force us to come across the river, in which case we will suffer massive casualties. We need to be away from the river so we can maneuver better. I like the river for defense, but I don't think it's the play here this time. Because see, that we'll have to cross right there to get to them as they're firing on us with artillery. And then they will get the benefits of the town for cover. We can use this corner somewhat here. There's a hill here with the town. Keep some reserves in the back, line up along the town. That'll give us cover from the guns. Definitely need our cavalry heavy on one flank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120 Alright, need to set them up in such a way as we can get to the town. Keep the general with the troops. Alright, let's move everyone down here, shall we? Doing this to try to give us as much time as possible before their guns begin to fire on us. See what they got. They're not on this flank. The elite fusiliers are on this flank with the grenadiers. So they're stronger on their left, our right. Definitely need to keep that in mind. Cavalry need to watch themselves. Get ready to move them up. Alright. Get the general down here with his men. Speed this up a little, see how the cavalry do. One of their guns is beginning to go after our cavalry. 2 guns are going after the infantry. Not really eager to have the guns fire on my cavalry, but I don't want the 3 batteries shelling my forces either. See if we can attract the attention of their guns with the cavalry. As you can see, some of their artillery think it's a good idea to go ahead of their army as well. Kinda silly. I do believe Armchair Historian mentioned he's going to be fixing that so the guns will not move ahead of the enemy's army. You can wander up with light troops and blow them away before the battle starts or anything like that anymore. That's interesting. They're shifting their army over here now. Very interesting. I'm not certain that we'll get a flank in with the cavalry on that side. That's going to cut it close. We'll have to see what we've got to do here. Alright, they are definitely switching over to this flank. Kind of a different move for the AI here. Yeah, we're going to move our cavalry to the other side. I don't think we're getting through there with the infantry. Alright, all of our men are here. It's time to line them up and prepare them. I'm not going to be too specific here because we're likely going to have to advance on them anyway. Want to keep them in line so the artillery doesn't do as much damage to us. Get the cav across the front as fast as possible. They're likely going to be able to flank from the other side, but not this one. Alright, very interesting moves by the AI. The Austrians are doing funny business. You have to watch that Austrian artillery. It's one of their biggest benefits. As you can see, that unit of artillery is way ahead of the enemy. If I wanted to, I could run my cav up there or a light infantry if I had light infantry at the moment. And just destroy that unit of artillery. Alright. We do have an opening. We're going to go all the way around with the cav. It's going to take a little longer, but we're not joined in battle yet anyway, so it'll be fine. Alright. Got our line forming here. I think we need to advance. They're adjusting their line again. Here, and their left flank still hasn't caught up to the right flank. I say we advance and catch them off guard. We're going to do an advancing action right here. Bring the fight to the enemy. Not give them a chance to set up a strong defensive position with that artillery. What's interesting is it seems like their army is trying to align to fight the cavalry. That's somewhat odd. There goes those guns opening fire on us. Definitely want to keep an eye on those grenadiers and the elite fusiliers that they've got. Alright, move the musketeers up to support one another. If we can, we want 2 musketeers on 1 unit of fusiliers. especially if we can start attacking them before they actually get set up in a strong position. We can set up here along the fence line. That may help us somewhat. Alright, fantastic. Give us a little cover. It's not perfect, but it'll work. See what we can do off the line there. Fantastic. They can hit us, but we're not in range of them yet. We need to move up. Maybe no, we're going to move back. Taking a volley here wasn't too bad, thankfully, but we're going to move back. We need support from more of our units. I don't want to overcommit either, even though we are doing more of an offensive action here. Cav are still moving along the flank. Perfect. And one of their guns is trying to attack my cavalry. The rest is focusing on my infantry line here. Thankfully, casualties are still low. Alright, now that they've moved up, we're going to advance again to open fire on them. Bring that distance down so both of my units can give them volleys. I'm going to bring up some recruits here too. As you can see, their artillery that advanced way up, they got shattered because they were too far ahead of their force. Alright. Moving the Brunswick Musketeers and the Hanoverians around the flank. Cav are still on the move. Wonderful, wonderful. These guys aren't quite close enough. We need to move up a little more. Alright, moving up. Move them on the double quick so we can try to take them out before they get reinforced by the elite fusiliers. Don't want them tired, but I don't want them to get flanked either. We do have some recruits and grenadiers moving up to help protect them, however. Their lines are still somewhat in disarray. They weren't ready for us to attack at that time. Thankfully, these units here can still use some of the woods and housing for cover. Not as much as normal, but it still gives us the opportunity. We are doing some massive damage to those grenadiers. Gotta move back our musketeers, however, because those fusiliers get flanking damage, and those elite fusiliers, they don't play. Do not play at all. Alright, subsidy recruits. Move them up. Check on the cavalry. They're being chased by some fusiliers. Some of the arty is still trying to shoot at them as well. Grenadiers are getting a little too close to for comfort. Don't want them getting shot to crap. Keep moving the cavalry forward. Alright, they are approaching our musketeers to do battle with them. We're about to break their fusiliers in the center. That's wonderful. We got to watch that cavalry on that flank. Our cav is separated from protecting the infantry on our flank there. Here they go with the grenadier charge. Definitely set them up in melee. I don't know that they'll get there in time exactly, but we'll set them up. May need support. No, they ran them off. Good. Gave them 2 strong volleys before they made the line. Couldn't take it anymore. Set up the recruits to reinforce with fire against the elite fusiliers and move the grenadiers up. We may get a charge in with the grenadiers. Bring the musketeers up to help with them. And we're going to bring the recruits over here to fight off the Hungarian fusiliers. I don't expect them to last long once they're getting flanked. Now it is time to move up on the guns and the cavalry here. Have an opportunity, we've got to take it. And our musketeers are out of range of the fusiliers. That is not what I want. I do not need them getting shot without the option to return fire. Adjust across the line here. Alright, wonderful. Our grenadiers may still win the day over here for us. We'll have to see what happens. I don't want my men running too much. You get tired, it reduces basically all of your stats. Now we do have a break here in their center. Cavalry's on the approach. Chevaux de guerre. They're trying to go after the French gentleman cavalry. Charging with the Royal Horse Guards. Move the gentleman back. And then join them in the charge. Wonderful. Guards are taking a few casualties, but they are overcoming the Austrian cav. Gonna get ready to move them. Don't know if their cav's gonna come back here and attack our cav yet or not. We'll have to see. Royal Horse Guards shot the artillery. We took that out. Wonderful. Alright. They only have one battery left. It's near their infantry, however, so that's not good. Fusiliers are forming up more in an attack column. That's interesting. Recruits are getting flanked. I don't want that. We're going to pull them back. And yes, they're charging. Wonderful. So we'll set the grenadiers to charge and order everybody else to open fire with volleys before we also set up in columns and countercharge them. I think that's the play here. We're going to set everybody up to charge them. Fantastic volley. They did a good volley. Alright, everybody, charge the Fusiliers. Fantastic. Take a look at this flank here. They are coming after us with a cav. We got a volley off too soon. It's alright, however. We're going to set up to defend. They are braced. Super important. Alright. Move them up in a little bit more cover. And that way the rest of our line can advance and support them. Alright. Somewhat risky to leave their flank open, but I'll move the recruits up to cover their flank. Alright, fantastic. The recruits are still tired. Alright, and just like that, we've broken the Fusiliers. Their elite Fusiliers are no more, so we're going to bring our guys up here in the flank to reinforce the main line. And they just shattered going through our grenadiers. Not bad for an attack. Keep moving the line forward. Their cav's been repulsed. Time to take it off a melee and move up. Alright. Thankfully our recruits are no longer exhausted. Get them set up here to support one another. And it looks like they're charging with the Fusiliers. That's not great. Got to get these musketeers in there to help charge with the recruits as well. Not ideal. Make sure they go to melee. And we will charge them as well. Hopefully those 3 units will overcome them before they take too many casualties. Cav are still running away. Our cav are still here. But I can't advance on that gun yet because they're supporting infantry. Perfect. Yes, you can see the damage. Their stamina being so low. Look at all of their stats. Their stats are just crap. Starting with morale, accuracy, melee, and charge. They're just horrific. Those Hungarian Fusiliers are not going to do well in that combat. Now, our musketeers are tired somewhat also, so their stats are reduced. But both of these subsidy recruits are going to do more damage than they should normally do because the Hungarian Fusiliers are so exhausted. That fight likely won't last that long. And their morale is starting to plummet, even though our guys are also tired. They're not quite exhausted. Alright. Just shattered one of their units here on the line. Bringing more Fusiliers up against us. Make sure to bring our general up here close by to help with any shock or morale damages we might get. Alright. Need to take them off melee and move them some. They're not going to be much use now because they're so exhausted. Hungarian Fusiliers are moving up, and the Grenadiers are sitting almost ready in an attack column. We'll see what we can do. I'm going to set up the recruits in lines anyway. They're not going anywhere fast anytime soon, so shouldn't hurt too much. Get the Musketeers and the Grenadiers on the flank. We may just decide to charge those Grenadiers. We'll see what happens. Brunswickers are fighting the Austrian Fusiliers. Wonderful. And now, as you can see, the Fusiliers moving up. Excuse me. Fusiliers moving up has opened up their artillery to cavalry attack. And we are beginning to encircle this army. Hungarian Fusiliers are broken, and we are going to charge these Grenadiers. Our Grenadiers will take care of that problem real quick. We may hit their Fusiliers first, that's the only problem. Nah, alright. Looks like we're winning that fight. Gentlemen Cavalry going to get some more kills here so they can level up soon. Taking down those Fusiliers. I'm going to charge the Musketeers also. Our cavalry will deal with the artillery. Spread our units out here in defense. Or not defense, rather, but reserve. Move up our men to give support. Their army's nearly collapsed. Artillery's done. Retreating unit is done. Fusiliers on their right flank have routed. Nearly shattered. And there they go. Fantastic. Get our men ordered a little bit better here. You really have to watch your men after they commit to a charge because they like to run and stay running and wear themselves out. Alright, cavalry going to get some more kills here for a moment while we do battle. Fantastic volleys in the Fusiliers. Alright, and they broke. Fantastic. That wasn't too bad, honestly, for an entrenchment battle. Especially without artillery. Alright. Not bad for an offensive action there. 663, that's okay. Alright, look at that. One artillery unit only got 8 kills, 206 and 117. Wow. That helped us out a lot. Only lost 1,463 men. Grenadiers got some good kills, so did their elite Fusiliers. Other than that, they didn't do that well. Our men did very, very well. I'm very pleased with them. We need the provisions. I don't like doing provisions, but might have to do that. Let's see. Dollars and ammunition is usually my favorite in this situation. Got winter coming, though. Let's see. Go ahead and do the ransom for now, see what happens. Now, this one's tough. Campaign visibility with scouting parties is wonderful. Not real interested in saboteurs, to be honest. Annus Mirabilis, however, is fantastic. That would bring our subsidies from 10 daily that we have now to 15 daily. And it makes reservists more available as settlements, which for us is not great because they're more expensive there. However, you're mostly in it for the money on this one. 15 a day could really, really help us. That bonus from being the crown with 10 already, making that 15, man. Alright. See what kind of levels we got. Got a lot of different equipment. Gonna replenish everyone. Get a little bit of organization going here for the items. Alright. Let's see here. Gonna go for the outpost. Do not have much time for the headquarters. Not good. Not a great event. We gotta give them more provisions so we don't lose more men. Provisions are getting low. See what we can do. I may have to buy provisions here at Marburg. Definitely want to buy ammo since it's cheap here. And definitely going to get those provisions. I don't really see another option. We're just going to buy them all out here. Look at the noble estate. See what kind of officers they have. Alright. I would say the wagon guy with the artillery is good, but the wagon's still bugged. Alright. Vukanau, cavalry. 2 good infantry officers. He'd make another good melee officer. Like grenadiers. It's not too bad. Morale damage received and charge. That's also good for a melee brigade. That's okay. I'm not as big on the grenade throws. He's a little more expensive also. Yeah, see, this would be a good artillery commander. Only the supply wagon's bugged, so it's going to blow up not long after the battle starts. Alright. Let's see here. Go ahead and get the generic guys that are worth basically nothing. Cheap. Get them for some backup officers. And, man, I like these stats, man, for a melee officer. Stamina, melee and charge. Morale and charge. Yeah. I think we'll get Skeleton. There we go. That's fantastic. Reorganize this, and we're going to make him our Brigadier General. Brigadier General. Why did I say Brigadier General? We're going to make him lead our Brigade of Grenadiers. Wow. Talk about a faux pas. Can I speak English or what? Alright, check the recruits. Redcoat recruits don't really want. Musketeers don't want. Fortunately, not the greatest rifles. We can't sell stuff. And unfortunately, there was not an artillery option. I really should have chosen one back previous down there. They don't come with the greatest guns, but they at least have a 3-pounder, and we'd have some artillery. Get rid of a couple of these chests here. Sell this, get a little bit more money to make up for the money we burned on the provisions. Go to the slums over here, still running out of time. Hopefully we'll get an event to end. Oh man, that's not a good event. Definitely got to pay for the silence. Can't have the HQ come a week earlier, that'd be disastrous. Alright, slums. Hopefully this is a good event. Oh my goodness, that's bad. Got to do the large rescue party. Don't want to lose all of our men. And hopefully save the officer. Good, we rescued him, but we still lose reservists. That's not good. Reservists and food. Alright. Could have got that unit, but we were already on the move. We're just going to let them go. We don't have time to piddle fart around. Hopefully this encampment will have a delay. Night raid, that's not bad. I don't like the 4 days for waiting, but I don't want to lose an officer. So we won't strike now. Well, let's see. 192. We're at 173 right now. Yikes. We're going to wait just to be at... Oh, man. That's really bad, man. We lost the 4 days for waiting, and we still got friendly fire for our officer. And then there's winter pops. Man, that's rough. This campaign is turning rough pretty quick. Alright, which officer did we lose? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. We lost one of our line officers. Alright, well, he only had 2 abilities. And this is part of why we did get these troops here. I guess Wilfred is going to be our new infantry officer. See what we can get here in town. Out of reservists. That is not good. I do not like paying that price for them. Need more food. Gotta get a few more reservists. Man, I hate paying that much for it. Normally I would not under any other conditions. However, we are getting kind of desperate. Hopefully this has a delay on it. We'll see what this got. Friendlies. We're going to fight a tough field army. And we have artillery now. Well, that's good news at least. Gonna definitely start to upgrade them. This is why we saved some items for them. Give them reload boost, range boost, a little bit more reload, and we're gonna give them ammo. We'll use stamina too. We'll just upgrade these guys to the 9s, I think, considering they're our only artillery piece at the moment. Alright. Got a little bit of replenishment here to do. Looking at our recruits, give them the Bibles. Make them a little more resilient. Let's see. Who else we got with items? Alright. Yeah, I think we'll give them the treatise as well. Alright. Okay, we got to do a fight here. Tough field army. They have 1 artillery and 2 cavalry. We can match that. And 2 fusiliers with 3 recruits. This should be a fairly easy battle for us. We need it to be, considering we don't have many replenishment for our troops. Being almost out of reservists, that's not ideal. Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, however. You're just going to get some bad events sometimes and go, wow, I had 3,000 reservists. Where'd they all go? Well, it's alright. It's alright. Nothing we can't come back from. Especially if we fight our battles well. If we do well at fighting our battles, we should be good. Let's see what we got here. Not bad terrain. Might want to use a hill, however, to put our artillery on. Definitely take advantage of the woods and see if we can get them to crawl through the mud. We got woods up here, but we also have woods here in the back 3 sets. It's definitely looking enticing. I think we're going to move the army over to this side. We're going to use these 3 sets of woods with a hill behind for artillery. Definitely think that's the play. Keep the cavalry on our flank again. Alright. Get them all organized in columns. Don't forget the artillery. Don't want to be like the AI and leave artillery with no support. Alright. Position them a little closer to the hill. Alright, we're going to get them on the hill as the first order of business. I believe artillery, well, I believe all units get an accuracy bonus on a hill, but it's especially beneficial to artillery and new units of artillery, considering that their accuracy is so bad. Line up our troops in the woods here. Still need to protect our flanks, even if it's in open ground. We can entice the enemy to come up and shoot at our units in cover, and then flank them in the open ground. So at least if they turn to fire on our units in the open, they have to do so under fire while they're being flanked. Not a fun prospect. Alright, take a look as our men begin to move. Fantastic. Alright. Let's see here. Enemy's starting to advance. Nothing too crazy. Getting in our positions. Definitely don't want to forget to unlimber the artillery. Not that I've ever done anything like that before, of course not. Alright. Watch which direction they're coming from. Keep flanking with the cavalry. Alright. Got their cavalry here. This is the one reason I like to do an oblique cavalry maneuver. Like I mentioned earlier, I'd rather have both my cavalry be able to group up against theirs. If I set my cavalry on one side and the other side, so I have them split between my 2 flanks, if they go heavy on one side or the other with the cavalry, then my 1 cavalry unit would end up having to possibly face 2 of theirs. That's not what I want. I want my cavalry to be strong on one flank, almost like an oblique. That way we can overcome anything we face on that flank. I'd rather not have my cavalry be dealt with piecemeal. That's what I intend to do to them. Alright. Keep them coming here. I'm going to adjust the line a little bit here. Just try to get a little more cover out of these woods. You'll notice, like last battle, I did have to advance, and I didn't have a lot of cover for about half of my army. But I do like cover as much as I possibly can. Some people may not care as much about their men. I always have. But a game like this almost requires you to more, because wanton casualties will definitely punish you down the road in the campaign. I don't really want my cav going through this mud. Let's see if we can get them to go through. They're just moving up with the army. We may end up having to go through the mud to get to them. See if we can pull them in with some shot. Don't know that they're going to take the bait. We're just going to cross. Alright, here they come. Never mind, we're going to pull back here for a minute because they are coming after us there. We can countercharge them with the gentleman cavalry since they're going after the Royal Horse Guards. As you can see, the mud is slowing everything down. That's not ideal. Alright, they're dealing with them. Fantastic. Took them out. Move the gentleman cavalry back. Their provincials are trying to hit them. So we'll do the same thing. Cycle it in. Royal Horse Guards are going to take them out. And the gentleman can join them. Alright. Wonderful. And this is what I meant. Had I only had one unit of cavalry over here, we would have gotten locked in against cav on cav, and their second cav unit would have been able to do a flank attack potentially into my cav. Not what I want. Their guns are targeting my cavalry. We're going to see if we can finish theirs off. I don't want them returning to hit us in the flank. Alright, shattered. Get them to stop running as fast as we possibly can, and get them out of harm's way. Alright. Let's see, they are approaching our lines. The artillery has switched to fire on our men. Thankfully, they're going to have to go through rough terrain to get to us. Alright. Definitely keep the cavalry moving, replenish their stamina. I think we have a pretty good spot here, especially our reserves. We got to wait to see what they're going to do a little bit. Hanoverians might move up to help with the middle. Start moving them around. Still going to be somewhat reactionary with the reserves, however. Alright, recruits coming up against the musketeers. Artillery open firing on the men in the field. Fantastic. Got a really nice volley off on those recruits. It's kind of neat seeing the different look of the troops on the battlefield. Gonna move up now to get better shot. It's kind of an up and down balancing effect, but basically with this kind of linear warfare, you want to try to make sure that you are as close to the enemy as possible when you open fire, but as far from them as possible when they fire. Some of the most successful armies relied on heavy discipline. They'd march their enemy, or their troops, they'd march their men through a volley or sometimes two volleys of the enemy, and then stop and fire at near point-blank range and just totally rout their foe. Now, that is a hard ask. It is a hard ask to ask your men to move up, receive two volleys of enemy fire, and continue moving under fire before then stopping and firing. The instinct of men is, oh no, we're getting shot, either run or stop and give fire ourselves. Still got to kind of maneuver our cav around here. They are being chased by infantry. These Fusiliers are not going to do well. They're in the mud. They've got 3 units of recruits going to be firing on them here shortly. And they're going to get flank attacked. Flanking damage is very important. Some things can make it even more or less so. I think we're going to have to deal with these recruits with the cavalry. They're keeping them at bay for too long. We're going to kind of try to bait them, I think, with the horse guards. The gentleman cavalry may do the killing blow. Let's see. We're going to open fire on them here. See how this does. It should do a pretty good morale hit. Oh, look at that. We're just going to move them back. Look at that, man. All right, here they go. They're turning to face the horse guards. Gentleman cav are going in. I'm going to pull the horse guards back. Fantastic. Take a look here. Move up our men because we routed the Fusiliers. We want to take out those guns before they do more damage. When those recruits are not braced now, they're moving. And they're not going to finish swapping their line around by the time they get hit. You can see them try to reface to hit to face the gentleman cavalry, but it didn't matter. It was too little too late. Alright, everybody's moving up. Move up the speed a little bit. They've got recruits. It's not too big of a deal. Suppose we'll move back with these guys. However, my guys are starting to get tired. Alright. Gentleman cavalry, as usual, I'm trying to get kills with them. They do have one more unit upgrade to do. Alright, their Fusiliers are coming back. Part of the other reason we moved back as well. So they're in the mud and we're in the woods. Do our best to get a flanking action type thing going here. Definitely prefer to have 2 of my units on one of theirs whenever possible. Alright. Let's see. Gonna have the gentleman cavalry run down some more of these recruits. Already almost at 1,700 kills. That's wonderful. Alright. Crownland recruits are low on morale, but they're advancing. Alright. The way is clear for the cavalry to take care of the guns. We're going to do that. Alright. Hungarian Fusiliers and recruits. They're both running. Wonderful. Move up the recruits some more. They have 1 infantry unit left. And the guns, which are not long for this world. And shoot at them, and there they go. I'll move our cav back now. And we are going to hit these 2 units and see how many kills we're going to get with the gentleman cavalry. Almost at, nope, yeah, 3,000. Wonderful. Move it, keep it moving. 3,500. Alright. 3,700, 3,800, 3,900. Over 4,000 kills for the French gentleman cavalry. Man. Now, this may seem excessive, and it somewhat is. Like, what cav unit's going to get 4,500 kills? Well, the thing is, cavalry in this game, especially this French cavalry, can take a very, very long time to upgrade. Especially if you have the negative malice where units take 1 more upgrade point to upgrade. French cavalry is really difficult to upgrade all the way. Another unit I think is a strong contender for that problem would be the Grenzer sharpshooters. The downside is it's a little more difficult to just rack up loads of kills on running enemies, for example, with the sharpshooters than it is the cavalry. Alright, we're going to position our men here. I could probably take them with the one, especially because they're bugged out, but I do not want them just turning on one of our recruits, running them down in a charge or something, or shooting them, forcing them to run, and then causing more casualties. There we go. Yeah, they started opening up. They broke instantly. We won the battle. All right. Definitely still doing well on the battle side of things. Our campaign side of things is a little bit rougher right now. Alright, I don't think we have an option except reservists, considering we lost 500 men. Our 405 doesn't even cover that right now. The artillery got almost 200 kills. Let's see what kind of levels we get, especially with our cavalry. 1 level. 2 levels. 3 levels. And not quite 4. So even with 4,500 kills, they didn't quite go up 4 levels. They did get enough, however, to get the French Royal Cavalry, which is powerful. Let's see what we can get for Vutgenau. Oh, nice. Relentless for charge and fierce for melee. I like that charge, man. Melee is good, though, too. They don't lose stamina, they lose accuracy. Both of those traits are fantastic cavalry traits. Tend to lean towards charge, though. Yeah, we'll go relentless. We'll get that charge bonus. Alright. Keep the holiday treatise. We'll keep the cheese, I think. Organize this stuff a little bit more here now. Definitely want to use the Potsdam muskets. Potsdam muskets are some of my favorite in the game. I just love the reload speed for my line units. Alright, we need to improve their guns. We're going to take off the worn muskets, give them Potsdams. Got a few recruits that can level up also. See what we want to do here. Definitely want some more Hanoverians. We'll go ahead and get some more of that. We only have 1 unit of Hanoverians at the moment. We're going to do that. Alright. Not a whole lot of items left, but man, that is close. 183, 192. We are down to 9 days. And we're almost right next to the headquarters. Try to sneak around to this convoy. We got to do it in forest march. There's no other way right now with the woody terrain and everything. Don't want to accidentally hit the convoy or the headquarters. That'd be bad. Hopefully this convoy can delay it or something. Contraband? It's not great, but alright, 3 weapons. Not too bad. Definitely good to get some more muskets on some of our guys that have worn muskets. We really need to try to advance a little bit further. Got the encampment right here. We're going to see if we can get there before the headquarters attacks. Auxiliary, fantastic. I think we'll go Frenchman again. Maybe we can get some more of that heavy cavalry. Let's see. Frenchman? Yeah. I think so. Wonderful. Alright. Well, we're not going to make it all the forest. We do have an encampment up north, which I'd like to do. Of course, we do the encampment. We'd have to fight the encampment and the headquarters. We literally are right there. We only have 12 reservists. Provisions are somewhat low, especially for winter. We got a choice. Either hit the encampment, or try to go down south, maybe get a fort, or hit up that town just for a few reservists, maybe an artillery unit. Something. Alright. Yeah, we could, but definitely not going to get all 3 forts. That's unfortunate. I really was hoping to do that. But we didn't have the artillery for it, and we didn't have time for it. We didn't get a lot of delays for the headquarters as much as I wanted to. That's alright, though. Alright, guys. We'll call it here, and we'll figure out this dilemma next time. Thank you for joining me. God bless.